die Vielfalt, die wir in den Weinbergen haben, durch den Boden, durch die Höhen, durch die Steilheit. Das ist ganz typisch für Südtirol. Es geht um diesen ganzheitlichen Ansatz, der mir sehr, sehr wichtig erscheint in der Landwirtschaft. Hey! Diese Symbiose unter den verschiedenen Pflanzen und Tieren, die eben sehr wichtig ist für die Gesundheit und die Qualität der Produkte. Wir befinden uns im Löwengang, einem unserer ältesten Weinberge. Die Anlage wurde 1875, 1885 angelegt. Das Holz scheint morsch zu sein und trotzdem sind sie unglaublich lebendig und schaffen eben die Säfte nach oben zu tragen. Und die Weine, wie eben bei einem älteren Menschen, der nicht mehr die Kraft hat, aber die Weisheit, strahlen eben auch diese unglaubliche Eleganz, Harmonie und Finesse aus. Ich heiße Alois Lageder, führe das familieneigene Weingut in 5. Generation und bin nun dabei, dieses an die nächste Generation zu übergeben. Es waren immer wieder Menschen oder Momente, die mich dazu geleitet haben, zu experimentieren und ständig neue Wege zu suchen, weil sich eben die Voraussetzungen schneller, als wir glauben, ändern werden. Und völlig braucht man eine sehr große Weitsicht, weil eine Rebe wird bei uns im Weingut gepflanzt, damit sie 100 Jahre lebt. Eine Möglichkeit, der Klimaveränderung Parole zu bieten, ist, in die Höhe zu gehen. Und deshalb habe ich beschlossen, hier auf 1450 Meter ein Experiment zu wagen, um zu sehen, ob unsere traditionellen Rebsorten auch auf dieser Höhe wachsen. Weil dann kann man natürlich für die Zukunft die richtigen Entscheidungen treffen. Seit Generationen schätzen wir die Partnerschaft mit anderen Weinbauern. Von Salurn über Bozen, nach Meran und ins Eisacktal hinaus und wie hier eben im Villnössertal. Nur durch diese unterschiedlichen Lagen und im gegenseitigen Austausch werden wir die Herausforderungen für die Zukunft meistern können.
Wann haben wir letztes Jahr da geerntet?
22 und 23.
September.
Ja, September.
Sehr schön. Weil es geht ja vor allem darum, auch in Zukunft die typische Stilistik Südtirols, diese natürliche Eleganz, die Finesse und die Lebendigkeit der Weine zu erhalten.
Pessoal do Vinhos e Prazeres, estamos aqui agora na Alois Lageder, na região do Alto Trento, para conhecer os vinhos dessa região. É um lugar muito charmoso e que aqui já se fala talvez tanto o alemão quanto o italiano. É uma casa bonita aqui no fundo, que a gente pode ver que tudo aqui é muito cuidado, né? it's a familiar company, or it's a...
Yes, so hello, welcome to Alois Lageder. We
Thank
are
you.
a family company. It's a family wineries, already 6 generations. They started in 1833. First they were wine merchants, they were working in the wine trade, and later on they decided to purchase their own vineyards and also establish their own production in Bolzano, the capital of Alto Adige. And later on they decided to move to Magrè. Magrè is the name of this village where are we located now, which is in the south part of the region. We are very close already to the Trentino region, and they moved here later on. Here we have this, let's say, building. It's called Kazan Hirschbrunn. Yes, it definitely is beautiful. It's from the 12th century and it was owned by a local noble family. It's a mix of different architectural styles. We have this small typical Venetian balcony, some Gothic, and today we use this property for our events. We do different type of events. Every year we have, for example, a wine festival which is called Summa. Usually it's in April during the Vinitaly, the biggest Italian wine festival. We have around 100 different producers from all over the world, and we host also different, mostly professional visitors and also wine lovers here. And we do some other events as well. So now we can head through our garden and go to the vineyards. Even though it's a very small region, it represents only around 1% of the total Italian wine production. It's a very small region. It has a very big diversity. More than 20 different varietals are allowed to be produced in Alto Adige. It's different microclimates because we have different elevations. In the south, usually elevations are around 200, 300 meters above the sea level, but then in the north of Alto Adige, it can go up to 1,000, 1,500. That's why we have different growing conditions and also different varietals. And at Alois Lageder, we work with 26 different varietals. Yes, it's a lot of, definitely. Some of the varietals are indigenous, autochthonous to Alto Adige that, let's say, were born here. It's, for example, Gewürztraminer, which is nowadays a well-known variety over the world. It's also Fermentation. In Italian, they call it Schiava. Fermentation is a German name. And it's a red one. Gewürztraminer is white, Fermentation is a red one. And there is also Lagrein. Lagrein is a very, let's say, great variety that usually has lots of color, lots of body, lots of tannin. So it's, when Fermentation, it's a more elegant variety. It's a light red wine. Then we also work with some international varietals like Chardonnay, Pinot Nero, Cabernet Sauvignon, some varietals that are more known to the German part of the world and Austrian, like Riesling.
Riesling.
Yes, Müller, Thurgau, Kerner, Grüner-Veltliner, this type of varieties. And then we have also some really uncommon varieties for the region to do some experiments because climate change is coming in the viticulture and it's important to see what varietals could be the future and interesting for the future wine production for us. But the gardener from England who is taking care of it, it was actually a pretty old garden, but when the family acquired it, it was already devastated and they had to replant it again. And also this garden we use for some of our events that we have here, for weddings, for example.
And the production, how many bottles do you make in average?
Yes, average we make around 1 million bottles per year, which for Alto Adige, it's definitely, we can say we are one of the biggest privately owned producers because there are cooperativas in the region, which are usually bigger. And this tradition of cooperatives, it's very common for Alto Adige because usually farmer has a very small piece of land. Per farmer it's 1 hectare, so they used to come all together and establish this kind of collaboration to produce wine together.
Do you buy grape or just...
Yes, it's also a good question. We own 55 hectares of our own, and all of it, each parcel of it, it's biodynamics, certified with Demeter since 2008. And we also have local partners, wine grower partners, which means we also buy some part of the grapes. And this collaboration is very long, already since 30, 40 years. And many of them, they are also organic growers or even biodynamic. Some of them are still in the transition process and they are following our footsteps, let's say so.
It's very expensive to get the certificate of the biodynamic for little production.
Yes, it is, definitely.
Hi.
Yes.
Does it have sparkling wine here?
So we don't produce sparkling wine, let's say Vino Espumante, we don't have it on our main wine list, but every year we have a special wine line which are called comets, wines of comets. This is our experimental wine because every year during the harvest we do different experiments in the cellar with our cellar team. And this year we have one pequena, which is one type of sparkling wine which is made from Moscato varietal.
And
Yes.
sweet wine?
No, well, all of our wines on the main list are also dry. We have also on the Comets line this year one sweet wine.
A village, this region.
Yes.
What's
this is
the name of the village?
It's called Magrè sulla strada del vino. So Magrè on the wine.
The vendemmia has finished.
Almost.
Almost.
Yes. In this part, we have harvested all the grapes. This is a special vineyard location from which we produce Lagrein Chardonnay. It's one of the flagship wines from us. It's a small parcel, it's around 2 hectares, and all of it's planted with Chardonnay. And this year we had incredibly hot summer. It was the hottest one during the last 5 years for Alto Adige. So that's why we started harvest earlier than we do. We started 16th of August.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why you can see that all the grapes now they are harvested here in this particular vineyard location.
Spaldeira, no? The format of the plantation is spaldeira.
Yes, there is a French term in guyot. Maybe it's the same in Portuguese or
Okay.
yes. In French they call it guyot.
Yeah.
And also, if you've seen on the way, maybe during driving, there are lots of vineyards which are highly trained and they do a roof. It's called pergola. And
Pergola.
yes, it's very important training system in Alto Adige.
Here is different. From
Yes,
the
here
other
it's
area.
different, definitely. Yeah, it's guyot. And yes, we work with 2 training systems, guyot and pergola, for different varietals.
And questo, this is for the birds?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
They like to eat the
Yes, they love to eat the grapes. They love to eat the grapes, yes. So we tried to trick them and we put some nets.
What's the difference between the biodynamic and the normal production?
Yes, it's a very good question. In wine industry now there are many different, let's say, terms, words for it. There is normal, which let's say there is also another term for normal viticulture, which is called conventional viticulture, and also winemaking. There is organic, there is biodynamic, and there are some other types as well. So in the normal conventional viticulture, producers are allowed to use different types of chemical, fungicides, herbicides, insecticides, which is, let's say, the easiest way of working in the vineyards because it's effective. But of course, it damages, it pollutes the earth, it pollutes the soil, it pollutes the air, and of course, some part of it in the end gets in the wine. So finally, it gets also in our organism, which is not very nice. And there is alternative, more environmentally friendly ways of viticulture, which is, for example, organic viticulture or biodynamic. And what's the difference between those two? For organic viticulture, it's important not, first of all, not to use all this chemical fungicides and so on. So it's really natural product and it's free of chemicals. And in the biodynamic one, it's already organic. So it does everything that organic viticulture does, but there is one step more forwards towards sustainability, which means that biodiversity is very important in viticulture, which means that we introduce different plants We also usually have grass pretty high. Now it's cut, but usually it comes really high, which means that we, let's say, support different insects to come. Pigs, chicken, geese.
Gansos.
Before we used to have some horses, but we don't
Cavalos.
anymore.
They don't eat the grapes.
No, yeah, no, they don't eat. Yes.
Alguns sim, outros não, né, velho?
Important variety for Alois Lageder. Yes, not only, but among whites, it's one of the most important. Yes.
Chardonnay.
And
Chardonnay.
red is Pinot Nero.
Red, I would say Lagrein. It's a very important one, the local variety, and also Cabernet Sauvignon. It's an important one. Yes. And as you see, this part of Alto Adige, the vineyards are located in between these two mountain ranges. So we have this one mountain range on one side and another one from this side, which is a valley. And most of the vineyards are located in the valleys.
Okay.
And do you see those white parts on the mountains?
Yeah.
This is dolomitic limestone. So this is a very mineral, it's rich in minerals, and also the soil is very rich in minerals in this material, the dolomitic limestone. That's why usually wines are very mineral.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Catholic. Yes.
Greek.
Yes, exactly. It's a Greek variety.
Sweet wine is a sweet.
Yes, usually, but as I said before, we have also some non-typical varieties for Alto Adige as experiment, and Assyrtiko is one of them. Yes, that's why. And over here, it's the red grapes, and it's Cabernet. So I can take one bunch.
The Assyrtiko is white.
Yes, Assyrtiko is white, and this is Cabernet. If you would like to taste, it's pretty ripe. Yes, beautiful bunches.
Ai, não posso virar.
Small berries, and that's why the color of the wine is very intensive. Yes. We don't use any pumping machine. So with this screw, the grapes are gently transported towards the lower level where we already have the presses to press the grapes, and then we pump the wine, the grape must into the fermentation vessels. So this is where we receive all the grapes.
All the fermentation is
Stainless. It's a good question. Not all. A big part of it is in the stainless steel, but also some part is in oak barrels, like this, like the big oak barrels, for example. It doesn't say here, but it's a producer from Alto Adige. It's in Botzen, yes, for the big barrels. It's called Mittelberger. Yes, later on we will see some more. It's this steamer, this machine, and we can go closer. So this is machine to separate the berries from the stems of the grape. So that's what we use, this steamer. And then through these tubes, the grapes fall towards the lowest level where we have the presses. So this is where we start processing all the grapes. And these are the tops of the fermentation vessels, stainless steel. So it's comfortable to work, especially for the red wines when we have to do the punching down. Yes. Sometimes manually, but we also have a special mechanism that is doing it. Yes, for the reds. And as you can see, we have these small barrels where we age the wines, and it's all of them in older vintages. This is, for example, Sylvaner variety, Sylvaner 2020. And it's a French producer. It's called Carançon, France. So these all are French barrels. Then we have, for example, here we have Pinot Grigio 2019. And usually these small are all the, let's say, experimental vinifications in these small barrels. So we keep it longer to age. Yes. So this is the bottling line where we bottle all of our wines, and we also do the labeling. And also we work only with natural cork. We don't have any plastic cork or any screw caps. So it's pretty important. And also what's interesting is that during 5 years, we reduced the weight of the bottle. So before, the glass used to be heavier than it is now, around with 300 grams, which of course is good to reduce the CO2 carbon footprint. And also, of course, the transportation costs are reduced with it.
It's very interesting because there are people already that think that a heavy bottle is a good wine. But
Yes.
doesn't mean anything.
Yes,
Just
that's-
costly.
Yes,
And,
definitely.
bad fermentation.
Yes, definitely. But you're totally right. There are some people who still think that heavy bottle is
Yeah.
a good wine. Yes. And also what's interesting is that we do spontaneous alcoholic fermentation. So we don't use any cultural yeast. We don't add the yeast. It's all the wild yeast that comes from the vineyards with the grapes. And all of our wines are fermented spontaneously, naturally, exactly. Which is not easy because we have to control everything.
Each year is different.
Yes, 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 that's true. And also each of the wines have their own individuality. They're all individual, all different, and that's very good. That's very good. Yes. And we use for the red grapes, for the white grapes, for both of them. So all the grapes are pressed here, and from the presses they are moved to the oak barrels or to the stainless steel. So also those oak barrels are used for fermentation. And also, if you see, there is the mountain behind. So the winery, natural mountain. So the winery was built into the mountain, so it helps to control the temperature. Yes, so here we don't have any air conditioning. Yes, it's all natural temperature. Yes. For the fermentation, and you can also see this paper. Every of the barrels and tanks have this paper where it says sorte, which variety, Chardonnay. It's gonna be Alto Adige DOC, so denominazione di origine controllata. Then we have the date, when was it harvested, 6th of September, and everything they measure. So this is the number of the days, this is the temperature. So they measure everything and see how the fermentation is going. Yes. Also, how much was the acidity, what's the alcohol level. It's 11.5 now, so it's already finished vinification, pH. So everything needs to be controlled.
Olá, pessoal do Vinhos e Prazeres. Depois que eu e o Marcelo estivemos na Ilha da Madeira, eu saí um pouco antes para ir para a Itália e ele ainda participou de outros eventos lá na Ilha da Madeira, né?
Isso mesmo. Você foi para a Itália, eu fiquei na Madeira, então nós temos conteúdo aí para mostrar um pouco da Itália pelo Alberto e continuar um pouco da Madeira comigo. Me conta um pouco como é que foi a sua viagem, Alberto.
Então, eu primeiro passei pela Ferrari, que eu acho que é a maior produtora de espumante da Itália e faz alguns dos melhores espumantes, acho que do mundo, né? Eles têm espumantes com mais de 10 anos, Surli, e são espetaculares. E isso daí é no Trento, que é no norte da Itália. Depois eu subi em direção à Áustria e fui na Alois Lageder, que é a importadora, é a Mistral. E lá fiz uma entrevista até engraçado, porque foi uma moça da Geórgia que foi quem me recebeu, e em vez de ser italiano, foi em inglês a conversa nossa, né? Mas os vinhos são espetaculares, eles trabalham só com uvas orgânicas ou biodinâmicas lá da região, tanto deles como de terceiros, e provei tudo que eu quis, foram vinhos maravilhosos, desde branco até tintos, né? Então vai ser muito interessante esse vídeo, hein?
Legal. A Itália é uma vastidão de cultura de vinhos, né? Cultura enológica, é impressionante, né? Você foi para uma região que está muito mais próxima à Áustria e à Alemanha, consequentemente, do que ao próprio que a gente conhece de Itália, né?
Inclusive uvas mais da Áustria e Alemanha do que da Itália em si, né? A Itália é interessante porque ela tem a maior quantidade de uvas viníferas do mundo é a Itália. Só que eles têm uma diferença com Portugal, que Portugal eles utilizam aquela quantidade enorme de uvas viníferas, e na Itália nem é muito regional esse tipo de coisa. Quer dizer, então você tem uvas que só são encontradas em algumas regiões, né?
Uhum.
Então,
Legal. Então conta aqui um pouquinho pra gente, Alberto, como é que foi.
a gente foi, aliás, até almocei lá num restaurante espetacular também, com produtos da região, e é uma vinícola super bem cuidada, moderna, realmente um investimento muito de um nível muito alto e uma tecnologia também espetacular, né? Então, isso a gente sente até no mundo inteiro, até no Brasil, né? Que você vai visitar vinícolas e hoje em dia equipamentos é o que não faltam, né? E tanto nós como eles aproveitam disso para produzir um vinho de alta qualidade.
Isso que você falou é interessante, né? Hoje, com a globalização e o acesso, a gente consegue encontrar vinho bom em todo lugar do mundo. Todo lugar do mundo tem vinho bom. E isso só acrescenta e só beneficia a gente que gosta tanto dessa bebida, né? E
Claro.
cada vez mais a gente vai encontrando essa diversidade, né? Em cada lugar do mundo tem tem o seu clima, tem o seu solo, tem o seu terroir, e o grande prazer é descobrir essa diversidade, né? Então, tanto desde a madeira até o Alto Adige, aqui de Bento Gonçalves a Petrolina. Então, acho que a gente tem aí uma diversidade muito grande, não só no Brasil, mas no mundo como um todo, e o bom é conhecer essa diversidade.
Bom, quem gostou desse vídeo, que eu acho que é um lugar, que é de uma região muito bonita, né, que pertenceu à Áustria há muito tempo, e até os nomes e muitas placas são escritas em alemão e não em italiano. Eu cheguei a conhecer gente no norte da Áustria, da Itália que falava mais alemão do que italiano.
Isso mesmo, se vocês gostaram do vídeo, curtam, se inscrevam no canal, que é muito importante para a gente, para continuar trazendo toda essa diversidade do mundo do vinho, aqui no Vinhos e Prazeres. E o interessante, Beto, que agora me passou pela cabeça, me lembrou, é que muito da imigração que veio para o Brasil, dos italianos, veio justamente do norte, do nordeste da Itália, ali do Trento.
Até interessante, porque na Ferrari, por exemplo, toda a formação do pessoal é na escola San Michele, que é lá na região, que é a mesma que o pessoal aqui do Brasil que estão produzindo vinho em Santa Catarina, em outros lugares, teve a formação, né?
Isso é muito legal, né? Então, faz essa relação, né? Brasil, Itália.
E até muitas mudas vieram de lá, dessa região, né?
Não só do sul do Brasil, é sul, né? Rio Grande do Sul e Santa Catarina também.
É verdade.
Isso mesmo. Então, obrigado, pessoal. Siga o canal, deixe o curtir e até um próximo vídeo.
Eu não vou falar mais, que é melhor assistir o vídeo, que nada é melhor do que quem trabalha na vinícola para explicar.
É
Obrigado.
isso mesmo. Obrigado.